Welcome to our next edition of Invidis Meets World. This time we traveled the southwest of Germany in order to visit some companies that are very strong in customer interactions and customer transactions. So this is a very interesting topic for us because it goes beyond the screen, beyond the typical marketing or digital poster screen. And it combines the digital signage component with processes and back-end systems.
Hey Josef, thanks for having us here. Today we are at Pyramid in Freiburg, which is in the southwestern part of Germany. And Pyramid is a hardcore IT company, but you have really evolved to a IT and self-service digital signage company. So how did it start?
Hi Florian, thanks a lot for being here. It's a special time. It's not normal to have visitors in this day and age, and so we're very happy to have you, and very happy for you to give attention to Pyramid. And yes, we are hardcore IT hardware, and this is very important. So like many companies, SME companies in Germany, we focus on the product centric, and this is one of the essential shifts that we're actually going through, going from product to customer, really understanding journeys. And you mentioned different applications, different use cases. So coming from the PC, which is the brains, so to say, in any of those applications, with additional IT functionalities, peripherals, which need to interact with the PC because information is needed, and then put that into application like you mentioned self-order kiosk, but also self-checkout, information terminals like you see here. But in the end, everything is PC. So the brain is inside. Maybe the brain is sometimes smaller, maybe the brain is only a NUC, but if it's a NUC, then you need an edge computing in order to use the data. And I mean, those trends, digitalization, AI usage, consolidation of data, that's what's driving us, and that's actually what's driving our business those last few years.
So the role of the PC is changing. It's still the core of any digital touch point, but it has different roles nowadays, right? With sensors and everything. So it's not just running just a hardcore PC role.
Yeah, I think it's very important in those trends. So everybody in a few years ago said everything will be in the cloud. So yes, why do we need a PC? I mean, everything is cloud related. But in the end, if you talk about real-time data and data collection and getting decisions fast, you need local processing power. And we see that trend going towards the edge. But in some applications, it's also needed to have a local instance. If you want to work with graphics, if you want to work with certain peripherals, printing device, cache device, it is essential to have a local processing, depending on the power needed there, but then it goes to the edge, and then certain AI functions go to the cloud. So it's a three-layered system, and that's something very new. Yeah.
Very interesting. Pyramid today is a 58 million euro company. I think you're publicly traded, so that's not really.
Not
yet, because just a few months ago you did a reverse takeover, a reverse merger with a public traded company. So give us a short introduction, what it is and what Pyramid will look like in 1st of July, I think.
Yeah. So it's very important to understand where we're coming from. Pyramid is still a privately owned company, founded in 1985, long history, two founders, very successful founders in there, and they were looking for a succession. And usually in a German SME world, looking for a succession means complete exit. So either you have a private equity or you have a strategic investor, and then you're gone. But those two being very entrepreneurial and seeing the potential of the company, we went a different route and found a spec deal, which you read now every day in the news. It's something very hip, yeah, in that sense. But for having this vehicle as a succession tool for a German SME is something very new. So the founders will stay on as shareholders in the new structure, and this gives them the opportunity to still capitalize on the future growth and the potential. But it also gives us the flexibility to use the capital markets in order to expand and to grow which you heard, we are working on an acquisition.
Exactly. You just announced that you're in talks to acquire Polygon. So what's the story about this?
Yeah, so Polygon is for us very, very essential. It's also a very established company, has a long history in information terminals, but also in all POS applications, which is a growing field for us. But also the focus that we have, like I said, hardcore PC company. Polygon is an engineering company with a strong electromechanical focus. So if you combine those two worlds, and this is also looking in the future, what will stationary retail look like? And in our opinion, stationary retail will need more IT, will need more technology, but it also will need more automated services. And whenever you have services and think about automatization, you will need more than just electronics. You will need mechanics. Think about click and collect, 24/7 stores. So there are a lot of mechanical applications there. Those are fields that up to now we sometimes did, but we couldn't do very well with our own, let's say, know-how. It's not our core. So this is for us a great combination to get best of both worlds on a focus of, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, special focus Germany, Switzerland, but pyramid is possible to scale. So we have a lot of experience in the US, and we hope we can take Polygon with us on that route. Yeah.
So silicon meets metal, a little bit like this.
like that, and for me, the application that I see is like thinking about a click and collect kiosk and a kiosk that is connected to a complete automated warehouse. Of course, you get a box. The box is pre-packed, but if the box arrives, how does it get conveyed? Is there a sensor? Can you put your hand in? Will it get smashed? How can you make sure that everything has been taken out? So there are a lot of mechanical points in that, and I think that will be much more important in order to get smart information, because everybody has a smartphone. A lot of applications will end up on a smartphone, but you cannot have mechanical things on a smartphone. So I think that's a very, very easy explanation there.
Your main vertical markets, maybe to just let our viewers a little bit know what kind of markets you are. It's always a little bit difficult, because you're not allowed to name your most important customers. But maybe you can give us an impression, what industries you're currently in and what your main customers are.
Yeah. So Pyramid is basically operating in two brands. We have the one brand which nobody touches, nobody sees, which is Aket, which we operate in the back end. So this is our server technology. And we have customers like, for example, Genua, which is part of the Deutsche Bundesdruckerei, where we do special security applications, but also we do store servers for one of the largest grocery retailers in Europe, all the store server applications. And then we have those devices that you see and that you touch in most of instances, at least that you see or interact with, which is the PolyTouch brand. And there we work for world's largest QSR chain with a focus on Europe, Canada, US, but also we mentioned cinemas before, which has been a very important market for us, which is certainly impacted by COVID, but then again, all the grocery chains like Edeka, where we have been pretty much in the news those last few months with self-checkout applications. Yeah. So those are the two brands that we work, but you could have everything under one claim that we do automated interactions. So our focus is automating interactions, human to machine interactions in a sense, and there you already can see the bridge. Thinking IT and thinking mechanics, because automated interactions can have both.
But I think what's also important that you don't see yourself like in a silo. You're working with Diebold and with some other big IT and engineering companies to really complement their offerings and to go together to approach a customer together, right?
Yeah, yes. And so for us, network and ecosystem is essential. We are hardware, and hardware alone is never a solution. So hardware needs deployment, it needs service, but it also needs software in order to make things work. Yeah? And therefore we need partners, and partners can be on a more continuous basis. Partners can be project-wise. Partners can be by country. In some instances, we have great relationship, for example, with Bizerba, where we do a lot of things together.
Scales.
Yeah, but that's, yeah, like I said, it's a scale system, and then the scale system has to be integrated in a kind of a terminal and has to interact with something.
So what is your vision? I mean, you're totally changing the way Pyramid works and looks. So what is your vision for the next 2 to 3 years? What will Pyramid look like in 3 years from now?
That's a good question, because we are changing, and the change is imminent. So there's a change from being a product-focused company who is looking for a customer asking for a specific product, to a company who is thinking about customer solutions. So we want to be much closer to our customers and understand their needs and understand their journeys in order to make better solutions for them. What we can say is everything that we do is customized. So we are not a catalog business. We thrive on giving customized solutions and giving additional value to those. And we strongly believe that the larger a company is, the more it makes sense to have something very specific on that. The smaller you are, the more you can live with a standard bundle product. And we try for those large companies who usually have teams who are dedicated to hardware, software. So we also have experts on the other side. So I think that's always helping in the conversation, having somebody equal who also wants the best of you, and you can give the best to the solution. Yeah. And that's the big change. So that's a change in the mindset within the company. That's a change how Pyramid is seen in the market. But so far we get very positive feedback.
Fantastic. Thanks for the insights, Josef, and thanks a lot for having us here.
My pleasure, yeah.
Hello, welcome here in our technical lab. Here you see lots of prototyping, lots of experimenting that we do with all kinds of technologies, and where we are actually trying to bring together the best things of hardware technology, software, interaction pieces and everything. And you will see here quite a range of our platform-based solutions. We are starting normally with fairly large sizes because we think interaction needs to be inviting. We all know great graphics, great interaction. We want to be captured by technology. So we start normally with at least a 32-inch, sometimes even larger screens, so that when a customer enters, they see the kiosk, they know what to do. It's easy to interact with. And you see here quite a variety of different installations. If it's back-to-back, if it's more focused around scanning, it's not only the touch interface, it's also payment, it's interactions-based situations. As we started, the iPhone just came out, and it was our idea to say we want not this one touch technology, we want a multi-touch, we want to have this swipe experience, we want to start where we all are now currently. And PCAP is our leading technology, but it's starting that we look into even further things. Touchless, meaning you touch in the air, as well as integrated touch solutions in the LCD.
How are you realizing those non-touch or in-the-air interactions?
There's currently a broad spectrum of things coming up. I think it's strongly based on camera advancements, AI technologies, and all this is coming in stronger and stronger. 3D cameras as well as 2D cameras that can now figure out where you are with your hands and those kind of things. So we are playing quite a bit with it. It's a big hype, and we all have to see if this is going to really take off as a standard, because I think right now we're still in this phase of like touch is known, it's quick, we can't slow down the processes, but we have this certain fear that you do want to interact not with a full touch solution. So it's just before it should stop.
Yeah, we're also seeing as complementing touch. It's giving the customer really a choice between if he wants to touch it's okay. But there are other ways to interact, and one is to track the hands. I think you also experimented with other technologies like eye tracking, right?
Yes, yes.
How's that going? I mean, where are the challenges there?
I think there's also, it came from a very different start where you would take a big sample, so you would track a lot of people's eyes, and it's not the individual eye that is necessary to be right. But the technology is evolving very quickly that you now can actually, with an individual eye tracking, function properly and actually select certain things. But this is a technology that actually needs a bit of adjustment on the customer side. So what we, as the very first focus, do is the technologies that are intuitive. We don't want to have a learning phase for the customer. That's why we also think the complementary, you still need the touch, but you add a touch free so that they actually see, oh, it already activates. I don't have to touch. But if I'm oblivious to it, which does happen a lot because you're not a technology expert, so you know you touch and then you do it, and it's still fine and it works. And that's sort of our approach. We don't want to have a complete new UI set up, having a learning experience for the customer, but rather they come in, they do the same thing, but have the chance of doing it touch-free.
But you're not only about interaction with screens, but also other devices like payment terminals, signature terminals. So what's the thing about those complement or additional technologies?
Yeah, I think this is a strong focus and important for us, because this is where you bring in everything together. It's not only the software pieces that all have to fit together, but now when you do a self-checkout, you need to bring these individual pieces that at some point a person in a hotel or whatever brings all together, booking systems and all this. It all needs to be in one place, and it all needs to be in a also very confined area that the user can identify what to do. Where do I put my chip card? And we all know swiping and all this from the past. Now we're quite used to tapping and those things. So yeah, we want to use there also the best things, but we're also driven by what's out there. So it's not we're not working on a green field. We have to integrate the legacy systems as well as the very newest stuff. And that's a challenge for us, but because we are coming from the technology, we're a PC manufacturer, we know how things to route, to power up, to restart, to do all these kind of things. We can very modular place our solutions so that they right now use the legacy, but are ready in a very easy switch to be very slim and very gone with all the peripherals in some sense.
Yeah. So when we're talking about integration, I mean, when we open the boxes, there usually then are cables and all that kind of stuff. And then the next question is about service, because it's not only about installing these devices, but it's also about simple service. How do you handle that?
Yeah, this is a very good question, because again, where we start from the PC, this is our heart piece, and it controls everything. And because a PC needs power, and we control the PC, we can then route the DC power further. So we have 24 volt, 10 volt, 12 volt, 5 volt outgoing streams, so that you only need to power up the PC, and everything else spreads from there, which gives you less power supplies, which are one of the big failure rates. It gives you restarts capabilities, which is another thing. Often we all know unplugging and restarting is one of the big solutions, and that can be done all remote. So now you are in a scenario where you have less components, which give you a smaller failure rate, and a way of restarting without having someone to go there unplugging a cable and all this. And one very nice feature is there are less cables, so you also need to explain less, because if a service technician comes, it's very clear what is for what. We are strong even with colors, so we make sure that the printer has one color, that the payment has one color, that connections to the screen are very clear, and a very quick swap. So often our screens are with a connector, as we know from docking stations. There's nothing to unplug. You just take the full screen and put a new one in. Same with the PC. A few cables off, new one in, back in, and off you go.
Great. Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Samsung Flagship Store. We're here in downtown Frankfurt, Frankfurt am Main, and Samsung has opened here a quite fascinating flagship store, like a big brand store.
Yes, it is, and it not only showcases the consumer products, but also some digital signage products.
Yeah, it's quite nice. So once you come in, you have this huge LED wall here, basically 2 walls.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice because they're both 16:9, so you can use existing content, but you can also connect both walls and have one large digital canvas. Stefan, you like the welcome light thing, right?
Yeah, it gives the whole thing depth and really creates a stage, and it works very well with the sign and the LED walls in the background.
So once you come more inside the store, obviously it's all the products and all the showcases, and this changes quite frequently. But from the digital signage perspective, obviously the most impressive thing is the huge LED wall, which covers all 3 floors. And what's so great about it, because you need something to put there. We just customer when we came in was really usually you would probably put like a backlit there or so.
Yeah.
But obviously if you're Samsung or if you're a bigger retailer and you can afford it, having some vivid, some dynamic content there really makes a difference. It really draws people inside there and gives some in this usually dark corner where you have all the escalator, everything. It really gives a nice canvas, a stage where you can tell stories. So it's quite nice.
Yes, and you have the dwell time on the escalators. People spend like probably 5-10 seconds until they are up there, so you have some captive dwell time there.
What's special about the store, and we talk about it a lot, are sensors, are analytics in the store.
Yeah.
And what's quite nice, because you can see them here. Usually they're somewhere hidden or so, but there are numerous
They are
sensors.
black at least, so we see them. Normal customer probably wouldn't see them. But the pure number of sensors here gives us a hint that actually every movement of customers is tracked in the store.
Yeah, not only customers, but I'm sure also interaction with the products, so they can really analyze and see how often the product has been picked up and then the papers also.
Yeah.
So it's quite impressive. I mean, they have 2 long rows of probably 30 or so of these sensors. Good, and here the store becomes an art gallery almost.
Yes, it looks like it.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of the frame and similar solutions because they're really nice. And I'm always, wondering what makes it so special. I think one of the most important things is the bezel. That the bezel doesn't look like plastic. It's not plastic.
No, it's wooden here, or you can have metallic bezels, and it really looks like a picture frame.
Yeah. Even if it's not really a 100% professional device, but it's something I've seen in many stores. It's really nice because even when it's turned off and you're not watching TV, you can show artwork on it, and obviously also upload your own photos and everything. It just looks nice, and just it melts with the architecture.
And
it really makes a difference.
It's so important that screens don't look like screens. I mean, we have the traditional black holes in the wall, and this just doesn't look like a screen.
Absolutely. Yeah. Stefan, here we are in the basement. Usually the service department is down here. What I like so much are these special TVs, these premium consumer TVs, because they're all special. So we have like the Serif, which is like a really designy piece of art. And then we have the Zero, which is quite nice one because it tilts.
That's very special. The younger generation will love it because they are used to.
Not only the younger generation, I would also like to have it.
Okay.
You don't have to be old, or I'm still young. That would be good too. And then obviously the frame we have seen before, but that's a really nice one because it really it shows artwork if you don't watch TV.
That's more my style.
Yeah. But it really shows, what kind of different. And TV doesn't have to be, look and feel like a TV. I think that's a big difference.
Yes.
So retail today is so much about customer service, and it's about repairing products. And consumers usually don't want to wait and don't want to send it, ship it somewhere, but they want to get it fixed immediately.
Yeah.
And here in this brand store, as in so many others, there's also opportunity. You can go to the service center, have some experts here, like in a glass and lab, and they fix your devices if necessary.
I think that's very important. The live repair, that you also can see them, how your phone is being repaired, and it also makes it very quick. I mean, you get it back in less than 1 hour typically. Yeah. So it gives some sort of repair experience also.
Exactly, it's an experience. So the service part, which is usually painful, becomes part of the whole experience, the brand experience.
And it used to be hidden, and now you can actually see it.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
This is also part of service. We were downstairs at the service counter, but this is also part of the service concept for modern retail, right?
Absolute. It's part of the service. It creates dwell time. It creates a nice atmosphere, and having a coffee it just adds to the customer journey. Absolutely.
Yeah. And this doesn't need to be digital.
No, it's not digital, and it's good because everything's digital around it. So you also need a space where you can relax a little bit and have time to think about what you have seen and all the products. So it's kind of quite nice. No, so we're in the first floor at Samsung Tile Flagship Store, and welcome to our coffee. Thank you, Dirk. Dirk Bockelmann here from BD Rowa. Thanks for having us here.
Sure.
It was very important for us to visit you and to have an insight into the pharmacy business, because BD Rowa, you're a robotic company, and you really change and revolutionize the way pharmacies look nowadays. So could you give us a short introduction about what your product does and what role of Digital Signage has?
Sure. Rowa was founded 1996. First machine was installed in Dresden, Germany in 1996. And since then we scaled year by year. Now we have 10,000 units worldwide, from Chile, Argentina to Australia, Japan. Interestingly, the pharmacy product works almost everywhere except US, because you have these vials. Yeah? So that's a different market. But Japan is very similar to the UK. Australia is very similar to what we are used to here in Europe. And we have started the product in order to optimize the space, basically, in the shopping area for the pharmacy, and the speed. And the idea is that you have just a one touch of the pack from inbound to outbound in a pharmacy. So it's very efficient, and we provide like an SAP software product. We are providing an process basically for the pharmacy, how to deal with stock inventory.
And I think the big revolution really to detach the storage from the POS, right? So it doesn't have to be close to the counter anymore. You can really put it somewhere in the basement or on the first floor. So it's really detaching storage from the point of sale. So you have more time and more space to really create atmosphere at the point of sale.
Exactly. So the idea is, we are coming from a world of drawers in the back office, and in order to get the product, the pharmacist or the pharmacy technician had to leave the conversation and go into the back office. And so the beauty of the technology is that you can stay into that conversation, and that you can have the opportunity of cross-selling and talk about other things than just fulfilling the specific prescription. So it's an opportunity for more OTC sales and free trade items, off-the-shelf items like cosmetics.
And you're not only doing robotics, but you also decided to integrate signage, big signage screens. So what is the role of large digital signage screens in your new concept?
Yeah. Honestly, we have started the signage journey in 2014 because our salespeople just talked about technology. And our customer is the pharmacist, and they are coming with a pharmaceutical background, and they are not technicians. So we wanted to have the conversation more on a consumer experience and on a natural way of talking about how we interact between pharmacists and patients. And so we use the technology to redirect our conversations, and that was the start of the signage journey. And then it developed into an own line of business because we became quite successful. Now we are the biggest distributor of large format touch screens. And touch was always the initial start, because we said that must be easy to change the indication from pain relief to allergy relief on a fingertip. So not changing the position and not going out of this conversation with your patient. And then it drove us from over-the-counter product, which is touch, also on the cosmetic area, which is non-touch, and also shopping window. Yeah.
And now you're not only building and using large format screens, but also smaller ones, right? It's a counter, right? So that's not only you can advise your customer on the big screens, but also on smaller ones for more private session, right?
Yeah, it's a question of privacy, but also of usability. So in some situation, the pharmacist didn't really like the situation to turn around. And so we developed this side-by-side idea where we have mounted these 22-inch or 32-inch touchscreen on the counter.
But once you decided to use screens, you also found out that content is an issue. For a robotic company, you went quite a way and said, okay, we also, need to provide content. So what is your content strategy to support pharmacists?
In the beginning, we thought about just touch and just pack shots. So in every country, and we are right now in more than 20 countries with this product, we are taking pictures and doing this 3D modeling of these pack shots by ourselves. So we are owning the rights for these pictures. And that is also a part of the strategy and maybe also the success of that product, that we provide the content for all the countries with the country-specific packs. And we have learned to enrich also this content by advertising screens. So we are partnering with Bayersdorf and Bayer and Pierre Fabre to have the up-to-date advertising shots available on that product.
Very interesting. But you're not only focused on pharmacies. I heard that you're now also expanding it to other industries. So what other industries are you also now offering your product?
Yeah, it has started very opportunistically. So we went into the situation that a big, so I cannot say the name, but a big manufacturer of luxury watches from Switzerland has asked us, because they have all the spare parts for vintage watches, into that. And then we have also the product at the police in South Africa for little bullets and what they found on the how's it called, on the place of evidence. And now we are focusing more on optics. So we have just launched our website and some content about retail optics and hearing aid, so opticians. Yeah. And we have our products more in a warehouse style in the US, but also in Europe, where it's about tools, it's about mobile phones, and tracking of even electronic cigarettes.
Wow! So it's really about simplifying processes, and with your robotics at the core, but also having experience around it based on screens and other things, and also self-service terminals, right?
Yeah, exactly. So for us, it has moved from a back office intra-logistic provider to more a complete store journey. So we have also tried to articulate this in our customer journey. This is why we did also shopping window. We are doing something with intelligent shelves. And now we are doing something with pickups, so to underline also the strategy to have a competitive edge for the pharmacist when it comes to online pharmacies or Amazon. That you can probably in the future send an Uber health driver to pick up your medication on one of these terminals, on these pickup terminals, and bring it to patients' home. So this is our customer journey, and we try to be the full-line technology provider for pharmacies.
Thank you, Dirk.
Thank you very much.
This was the latest from invidisXworld, interaction, transaction, and digital signage. Please join us for many other topics, for many other shows on our YouTube channel, invidisXworld. Subscribe to our channel because we publish videos regularly with news stories from Switzerland, from Sweden, and many other places. It's really exciting to travel and to talk to the people, to look behind the scenes, because there's so much more than just green screens. Join us for invidisXworld.